technology can be in a form of culture as well. So when I discovered the meaning of culture according to Johnson, that covers as well the technology, I just simply said, ah, okay, because there are some ways that we ourselves use the manner how we use technology. So that is already part of cultural practice. Ember, culture is defined as a set of learned behaviors, beliefs, attitudes, values, and ideals that are characteristics of a particular society or population. Okay, so we understand it according to the definition of Ember. Well, bottom line of all these definitions is that they focus on behaviors, beliefs, attitudes, values. These are very primary to the cultural definition. Furthermore, Blackwell also stated that culture means a body of artistic and intellectual work of agreed value along with the institutions which produce, disseminate, and regulate it. Now, here Blackwell is mentioning institutions, and part of these institutions, or larger part of these institutions, is in the department where we are all working under, in the education department. So, trying to understand what Blackwell is really trying to um, emphasize. He says that culture can be loosely summarized as the complex of values, the customs, beliefs, and practices. Yes, they are quite similar with the other proponents as well in how they define culture. In that complex values, customs, beliefs, these are what constitutes what we know today as culture. So basically, this is also what Needle is saying, that it includes the organization's vision, the values, the norms, the systems, the symbols, language, assumptions, beliefs, and habits. So with this, we are now trying to sum up culture. Okay, according to all these definitions, that culture, one, culture helps the individual fulfill his potential as a human being. That is the basic proposition of the culture. It's not only proposition, but it's the foundation that culture can give. Secondly, through the development, excuse me, so the development of culture, man can overcome his physical disadvantages and allows him to provide himself with fire, with clothing, the food. These are the basic needs of the person. So all these basic needs are what constitutes the development for this culture. Thirdly, culture provides rules of proper conduct for living in a society. That is true. How we conduct our societal relationship here in the Philippines is quite different from how the other nations and the culture also provide us with the understanding how they relate with each other. And the fourth one, culture also provides the individual his concept of family, nation, and class. So therefore, culture varies from family, nation to nation, and class against class. Now, let's move on to the elements of culture. Under the elements of culture, there are values. We are trying to uh, put them into specifics. Okay, so let's try to look at what is value or what are values. Values are defined as standards of desirability, goodness, and beauty, which serve as broad guidelines of social living. So how we engage ourselves in social living, that is what we call the values. Now, it also supports beliefs or specific statements of people hold to be true, what they believe, and what are some of these important beliefs that they hold on. as what they claim as this is true. Also, it varies in age, in sex, in religion, race, ethnicity, religion, and also in social class. Uh, that is why we cannot make values similar with the other groups of people because it differs from person to person according to the distribution of age, the sex, the race, and etc. And the fourth one, values change over time. That is true. So what the values we consider today are true, it may in some other point of time in the future would also just like the way we the clothing, okay, the design before the style, the cut bell bottom, mga 1970s, but now it's different. So these are part of the values. What is the difference of the values and the norms? The norms are rules and expectations by which a society guides the behavior of its members. So norms are now in the behavior that gives the direction, the guide. These are the standards that define the obligatory and expected behaviors of people in various situations. So, like what happened in Yolanda, and we find how the people react today after the typhoon Rolly. It is because of how the government, responded to these situations. The norms are quite different. During the time of Yolanda, there is stealing and all of those squabbles. However, it is not much during this time, as according to the reports, there is less report that we have heard about some of these ill effects after the typhoon Rolly. So it's because of these expected behaviors that are brought. Okay. The third one, norms reflect a society's beliefs about correct and incorrect behaviors. If I say this is correct, it may be incorrect to other society. However, what probably would generalize today as this is correct to every one of us, maybe in some other societies, it will also be incorrect. That is why norms reflect a society's beliefs. Um, we find that different people, okay, act in a different way. Norms change over time. So if we talk about values can change over time, so are norms. Okay. And the third one that is related to this culture is what we know today as the sanctions. It could be either rewards or punishment. Well, as teachers, we know much how to give rewards or probably punishment to an erring student. Sanctions are done in two forms. Okay, these are the reason because we are trying to protect the society. So the positive is what we know as rewards. The negative sanction is what we know as punishment, and we often apply that in our school, especially in our classroom management, right? So we are champions about giving sanctions as teachers. That is our day-to-day, except maybe this year, we can still give sanctions perhaps to those students who are not turning in their modules in the right time. However, the Department of Education is telling us there's only two ways, either we fail or we pass the students. Uh, it's very abnormal than the original function that we are doing every day in our classroom. Okay, now let's move on to education. What is education? So it's very clear today that education plays a vital role. But as a foundation of education, how does it play? So it's good to uh, understand deeper what is the meaning of education. Education is a form of learning in which the knowledge, skills, and habits of a group of people are transferred from one generation to the next through teaching, training, or research. So these three, teaching, training, research, these are the basic components that comprise the work of a teacher. We are doing all of this for the reason that we are passing on the learning to our students in the areas of knowledge, the skills, and forming habits. Okay? So, what the education we received in our days is very quite different because it is being passed from generation to generation. So the mode of education today is different from our time back when we were still young. Maybe some of us who are taking this masteral degree in our MAED class, we are also comprised from different age groups. So we have different understanding and skills and learning and habits that we have received over time through education. McNerney and Herbert describe what are the functions of schools. They describe the function of the school as first and foremost a social institution that is an established organization having an identifiable structure and a set of functions meant to preserve and extend social order. Okay, school is a place for the contemplation of reality. I want to underscore that one, a contemplation of reality. That is the basic function of the school. And our task as teacher, in simplest terms, is to show this reality to our students who are naturally eager about them. Well, another form of reality in these modular times where we are engaged is that the new students now are not only the students where we enroll, but it is the parents who are answering the modules of our students. That is the reality. What can we do about that? It is an extension of what we supposed to, um, to see, okay, prior to the, well, we expected that already, but that is exactly what is happening today. So there are four purposes, okay. The intellectual purposes is to teach the basic cognitive skills such as reading, writing, and mathematics, okay, to transmit specific knowledge. The political purposes is to inculcate allegiance to the existing political order or patriotism, to prepare citizens who will participate in the political order, to assimilate diverse cultural groups into political order, and to teach children the basic laws. Okay, we are doing that, especially in the classroom setting. From time to time, we let them recite the Panatang Makabayan and all of those that pertains to our nation. So they are under the political purpose. The third one, the social purpose, to socialize children into the various roles, behavior, and values of society. Okay, so that is in the socialization, but today the socialization of our students are limited in their homes. Economic purpose, to prepare students for their later occupational roles and to select, train, and allocate individuals into the division of labor. So our homes today are very fitting, especially to teach our children who are staying in our homes, homeschooling for short. We can assign them with the labor, and there's more time that we can engage our students, our children, into this very purpose of education, the economic. Now, the multiple functions of schools, there are as follows: the technical, the economic, refers to the contributions of the school to the technical, economic development and needs of the individual, the institution, the local community, and the society and the international community. Okay, the social, the human social, refers to the contributions of the school to human development and social relationships at different levels of society. So I'm not going to elaborate that more. That is very self-explanatory. In the multiple functions of schools, okay, the first one, the political, we find that it refers to the contributions of the school to the political development at different levels of society. Okay, so with that, we cannot negate the very function of our school is to serve the system of our governance in our country, that is in the political aspect. The second one is to promote the culture, refers to the contributions of the school to the cultural transmission and development at different levels of society. And we have programs in the school that promotes culture. Okay, education refers to the contributions of the school to the development and maintenance of education at the different levels of society. These are the functions are divided into two, the manifest and the latent. Now, first one is the manifest. The manifest functions of education, okay, functions of education are defined as the open and intended goals or consequences of activities within an organization or institution. Rather, we find that these are what is visible, okay? That is what we observe from time to time. The socialization, we are also doing the social control, the social placement, the transmitting of culture, the promoting of social and political integration. And the school also acts as the agent of change. These are all the manifest functions of education, and this is clearly defined in RA 915155 and all those other laws that we significantly know, where we are governed teaching as a profession. The latent functions of education are hidden, the unstated, and sometimes the unintended consequences of activities within an organization or institution. What are these latent? One is restricting some activities. There are not all activities in the school we prescribe. There are also some that sometimes we negate. Okay, so matchmaking and production of social networks, as well as the creation of generation gap. So they contribute to what we see as the latent functions of education. According to Calderon, okay, the functions of the schools, it is the conservation function, the instructional function, the research function, and the social service function. In this figure, in the K12 program, this is visibly what is being promoted since the time before President Aquino left. The K12 program was already promoted, and so today we see that these are basically the components that comprise the K12 program. This is of a sociological importance. If you look at the age level, you look at how it is being given to us, presented to us, that education is an activity which goes on in society, and the society in turn determines the nature of education. That is quite visible in this presentation, the sociological presentation of education in the K-12 program. Okay. The The sociological perspective of education is the social process of living through the continuous reconstruction of experiences. It is the development of all those capacities in the individual which enables him to control his environment and fulfill his possibilities as part of the society. That is according to John Dewey. Now, we know who is John Dewey. By the way, John Dewey is a father of the progressive movement, and he is a very active educational contributor to our present understanding of education. And another functionalist, these two, Emil and Talcott, these are the individuals. However, Emil Durkheim is what we uh, understand, and he is known as the father of sociology, and his work contributed to the educational function, okay, in the functionalist point of view, together with Talcott Parsons. Now, the functionalist views, both of them, they uh, proposed, or they're the proponent of the functionalist views that each part, okay, I underscore the part of a society, a social institution, contributes to the smooth running operation of the whole society. So, education functions as uh, contributing to the smooth running operation, and it works together. Each part must work together effectively with all the other parts. Education helps keep the whole society functioning. Education works together with the other social institutions. So all of these functionalist views today are all functional, right? These are all working together as part of our educational system. For this, okay, Emil is trying to transmit the idea. The main function of education is the transmission of the society's norms and values in three main areas: the social solidarity, secondly, the social rules, and the third, in the division of labor. Okay, so in the under the social solidarity, it is the history that provides us the social continuity, the social rules that cooperate with strangers and to be self-disciplined, as well as in the division of labor, where individual skills are necessary for future occupations. Almost to the end. Therefore, in conclusion, the aims of education, the sociological aims of education, therefore, develops the social feelings, the social attitudes, the social qualities, and democratic ideals. Secondly, the aims of education is to provide for social efficiency and self-reliance. The third is to influence in the effective and gainful use of leisure time. And third to the last slide, impact of society to education. We have all of these different components in education. Okay, that is under the religious conditions, the social thoughts that was being discussed, mentioned earlier. These are giving the impact to society in the social reform, in the awakening of social feelings, the social control, the preservation of social heritage, political development, social change, development of society, as well as the socialization of a child. Okay, so to conclude, therefore, duties of the society towards education is in this following: the establishment of schools. That's the reason we establish the school, because it is part of the duty of the society. The provision of vocational education, the establishment of libraries. From time to time, there are always libraries under the local government units where it's not only found in the schools, but that is because we are furthering education not only to those who are enrolled in the schools but also to other societies in what we know as the vocational education. We have the building of gymnasium, we have the provision of academic and cultural education, the provision of adult education, as well as the enlisting cooperation of other agencies. You see, education is not covered, unlimited, or bounded only in the structure of schools, but the government is extending its boundaries. Education is being extended to the societies in these different forms. That is true to our country where we live. Uh, Further, preservation of the culture and civilization, the maintenance of culture and civilization, the development of civilization and society, the fulfillment of social needs, importance in curriculum development of constructive powers. Now, these are very broad areas in which it cannot be covered only in a school setting. However, the education as a whole unit, okay, covers all of this because education is growing every single day, as well as the different generations and people where um, it is this cater vary in different needs. So therefore, education in the sociological foundation is, according to this report that I give, very essential to our education system in the country. So thank you for listening to this report. If there are any comments.
Maka-ask me yung question, sir. Ask you.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, sir. Good morning, DI. So
Yes,
earlier, sir, you mentioned about the function of the school.
yes, ma'am.
So considering, sir, that some students, but I think all students nowadays are homeschooled, can we consider, sir, our homes as a school?
That is now the extension of our understanding in education, because actually, education is not only limited in the school. Um,
Mm.
we know already, according to this definition, uh, in the duties of society towards education, the home is the extension of the school. Actually,
Mm.
it is vice versa. Actually, man, it should be the home that is the primary school of education. The
Mm.
school structure is only the extension, but because there is the
Ah.
formalization of education in which our government takes into position as the primary giver of education, munang more na baliba. It seemed like it
Oo.
is the school that is the provider of education, but in fact, education
Eh,
starts from the child.
kinsa na ni question.
Miss Zambales, sir.
Miss Zambales. O pwede ma-question ta later on after the report na lang. Sa
Sige, sir.
okay. Kay malangan man yun and then daghan pa kayo ra pa mo and then after sa group report we're just going to throw questions later on na lang if pwede.
Sige.
Okay na guys.
Salamat, sir. Sorry
Question
po.
answered.
Opo.
Okay lang wala no problem mo no problem.
Okay po.
So
Thank you, Sir Nigel.
uh,
Okay, thank you, ma'am. How do you stop this presentation, Doc? Asa manipis
It's
litron.
nice. Well, it's nice. I just want you guys to continue. The second reporter, Sir Nigel, kinsa man?
Ako. Ako, Doc.
It's Bardock.
Yes.
I see.
Nagkuhan pa ko, Doc.
Nag-prepare pa ka. So, ano ba?
May nakita na ako
Yes,
dito
Sir
sa
Nigel, so far it's good. But I'm going to give questions later on lang. After the whole report of Group 1. If it is okay.
Okay, thank you, Doc.
Okay, it's nice. Nice presentation with the slides, huh? I have to give credit for that.
For now, Doc, I bought really the Microsoft 365. I paid for it kay it gives good designs.
Yeah. So,
nakita na,
very,
Doc. Sir
it's
Knight.
nice. The slides, I'm not,
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
I'm not
Yes, ma'am.
okay
Naa na,
with
ma'am.
the
Okay, good.
slides. But
Thank
as long
you.
as you can provide it, okay lang. It's
Okay na.
nice so far. Okay, Sir Nigel.
Okay, naa na, ma'am.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Doc. Good
Morning.
morning, classmates.
Eh,
By the way, I am Melinda Bardock, your reporter, your second reporter. So my topics are sex roles and sex differences and adolescent and youth problems. Okay, let's start with the sex roles and sex differences. Okay, let's define first what is sex. So this is very common, or I do believe that all of us knows what is sex. Sex refers to the anatomical and other biological differences between females and males that are determined and at the moment of conception and develop in the womb and throughout childhood and adolescence. Females, of course, have two X chromosomes, while males have one X chromosome and one Y chromosome. So it's to elaborate with the meaning of the sex, of course, between males and female. Only males and females. So, so let's go to sex roles. Based sa ako ang research, sex roles here na, people often conform to their culture's expectations about how those of their gender should act, dress, or speak. We refer to these sets of expectations as sex roles. So, naatay in a gender or in a sex, makitaan jud dayon nato ang differences sa male and female. Okay? The
Miss
way
Guap, show your beauty, Miss Guaps.
it's it's na mo leave the wait Mm. Hala, dili na ko maka start sa nako.
I-exit try mong PowerPoint, ma'am.
Just for the record, guys.
Okay na?
Sorry,
Okay,
Mr. Guaps.
sorry.
Okay, much better.
Okay, so let's continue. Okay. Okay, so let's have the female sex roles. Okay, so most female good na target dun sa women about the accessories, the electronics products, the sporting goods, and they are is this kanang they are very kanang unsa ni ilahang initiative especially in markets sa pag palit do marketing or sa sa household nga mga galamiton. Like in especially also sa female in dressing up like sa mga girls kay they would always say nga or we would always say nga tungod sa kadaghan na nga mga accessories tungod sa kadaghan na nga mga clothes then maglibog na sa pag-choose no we not all maybe not all but maka ato ang nga mahibal-an that the girls nga mo ingon jud sa nga I have nothing to wear because of lots of kuana but the boys you can see there the other picture nga bisag gamay ra kaayo but they could malibog na gyapon sila bisag gamay ra gyapon ang ilahang accessory so there is really a difference between female and male. So let's move to male sex rules. One consequence of the continual evolution of sex rules is that men are concerned as never before with their appearance. So men spend $7.7 billion on grooming products globally each year. Grabe ni mga men. So they are concerned with their appearance. Okay. Sa mga females, they are concerned with the accessories or sa mga butang na like sa household. Okay, so let's proceed to male sex rules. Differences in sex rule orientation can influence how we respond to marketing stimuli, at least under some circumstances. For example, females are more likely to undergo more elaborate processing of message content, so they tend to be more sensitive. So, ang females they are more on elaborating messages and they are more sensitive to specific pieces of information when they form a judgment, whereas males are more influenced by overall themes. Okay, so mo na no asagaran nga sa managtiayon maybe the females kay daghan kayo nga mga words than sa mga male or sa mga boys. Okay, so as ato ang i-differentiate ang ilahang ang brain sa male and female. Male brain based ra pud ni sa ako ang na research, they are more on naaliya inyong nakitaan driving skills sa male brain ay sports, women, ask for directions, avoid personal questions, car fixation, listening, and then ever sa female brain kay more on shopping, commitment need, talking, driving skills, parking, phone skills. So mao ginay kasagaran pud sa female brain. Okay, so let's move to gender differences in socialization. Kato sa culture tuon na sa karon ari na pud ta sa socialization, gender differences in socialization. It's not clear to what extent gender differences are innate rather than culturally shaped, but they're certainly evident in many consumption situations. Other with this is many commercial sources, in addition to parents and friends, provide lessons in gender socialization for both girls and boys. Okay, so we could really differentiate the male and female in socialization. Okay, so as we all know, ang boys they they enjoyed stacking blocks and working towards a goal, such as finishing up building. However, in the girls, they don't like repetitive stacking. They prefer to create relationships between characters, building communities and decorative spaces. So sa boys, they are more active physically and they like to create conflict between characters. And however, in the girls, they prefer to create relationship between characters. So and another with this is one study even found that people perceived a male voice emanating from a computer to be more accurate and authoritative than a female voice reading the very same words. Participants also valued computer-generated words of praise to a greater extent when the voice was male. So ato apong makuano nga ang male ang tingog sa male is more accurate and authoritative than female, no? So ato ang makuanan nga mailhan jud dayon nato ang tingog sa male nga very accurate. Wow. Okay? So, women in the world overspend 20% more time on retail sites overall than men. And they spend also significantly more time on social networking sites than men, with women averaging 5.5 hours per month compared to 4 hours per men. So, grabe po di any maka ang women. So, based sa ako ang na research that women have more time on social networking than men. Na 5.5 hours per month pa compared to 4 hours per men. Okay, so based na po na sa ako ang na research. I don't know nowadays gid ba nga especially we are all of us, no, all of us male and female need the technologies, need this social networking. Okay? So to conclude with this topic, the first topic, the sex roles and sex differences, women may conform somewhat more than men, although these differences are small and limited to situations in which the responses are made publicly. In terms of leadership effectiveness, there is no evidence that men overall make better leaders than do women. However, men do better as leaders on tasks that are masculine in the sense that they are require the ability to direct and control people. On the other hand, women do better on tasks that are more feminine in the sense that they involve creating harmonious relationships among the group members. Okay, so naay ako ang gi-quote diya sa according to Hobbes study et al. Men should be authoritarian, harsh, and focused on material success, while women should be modest, gentle, and concerned with quality of life. So this, you know, this situations that though we have different differences, male and female have each or naagi differences, naay role, but we need that to be like we are um, doing nga ato ang task, like men should be authoritarian, diba? Harsh and focused on material success. But it says here that a society is considered a feminine one if the gender emotional roles overlap. Both men, okay, here, both men and women must prove modesty, gentleness, and concern for quality of life. Okay, so though we have differences and roles, but both men and women, the modesty, gentleness, and concern for quality of life must be considered. Okay, so okay, last the conclusion about this topic. Society expects different attitudes and behaviors from boys and girls. Gender socialization is the tendency for boys and girls to be socialized differently. Boys are raised to conform to the male gender role, and girls are raised to conform to the female gender or role. Okay, so these are the research na ko about the sex roles and sex differences. But I have I want to what kanang share to you this article highlights that God intentionally created built-in differences in men and women. So we have the differences between men and men and women are equal but not interchangeable. So we all know no nga gibuhat gyud sa Ginoo ang duha lang gyud, men and women, and They are equal. We are created by God equally but not interchangeable. So dili ta pwede nga magka bayluhanay. Ang women mahimong laki, ang men mahimong abay. Both genders find their worth in the Lord since they are designed to reflect His image. So, mauna ang ako ang ika-share about the sex roles and differences. So let's proceed to adolescent and youth problems. So uh, this is very interesting topic since I am still a youth. Right. Okay, so let's go forward to the meaning of adolescence. So it is from the Latin adolescere, meaning to grow up, is a transitional age of physical and psychological human development, generally occurring during the period from puberty or to legal adulthood. The period of adolescence is most closely associated with the teenage years, though its physical, psychological, and cultural expression can begin earlier and later. So, these are the three main stages of adolescence. Early adolescence, 9 to 13 years, wherein sa characterized by as part of growth and the development of secondary sexual characteristics sa ages 9 to 13 years. In mid-adolescence, this stage came distinguished by the development of a separate identity from parents, of new relationships with peer groups and the opposite sex, and of experimentations. And in late adolescence, 16 to 19 years old, they are fully developed physical characteristics similar to adults and have formed a distinct identity and have well-formed opinions and ideas. So at this age, na sila opinions in their own. So adolescence is a critical time of identity formation. With the outset of puberty comes an explosion of growth, physical, intellectual, emotional, social, and spiritual. Understanding the nature and scope of adolescent development and responding appropriate requires patience, empathy, and a sense of humor. So young people progress through adolescence, not to following the same path. And this age na, uh, we will later know their problems, no, sa during yun sa adolescence, sa youth, okay, sa mga young ones. So let's have this physical, their development characteristics of these young adolescents. In physical, they could experience onset of puberty. They grow rapidly, are often clumsy and coordinated, become highly self-conscious. Body image can affect self-image, fluctuate between hyperactivity and lethargy, and need physical activity. So, mao na ni ang ilahang development. In cognitive intellectual, lahat po nga development sa young adolescents, they develop ability to think abstractly. So, in physical kay ma-change, no? Ma-change ang ilahang physical appearance, and also they grow rapidly. However, in cognitive intellectual, develop ability to think abstractly, but many still think in literal terms, develop critical thinking skills, and become more self-aware, self-critical, exhibit increased communication skills, becomes argumentative, and demonstrate an intense need to be right. So gusto gid nila nga sila gyud insakto. Okay? So they becomes argumentative, develop decision-making skills, and wants a voice in their choices, show intense focus and a new interest, but lack discipline to sustain it. So, di na kay ka maka-disiplina, no? Because they have their own choices and they focus their own interest. In emotional development, in the young um, adolescents, they are unpredictable emotionally, are sensitive and prone to outburst, are vulnerable to emotional fleas, and can be easily manipulated. So exhibit an increasing capacity for empathy, experience increasing sexual feeling, may engage in sexual behavior without realizing consequence. So they are more sensitive and prone to outbursts. And in social interpersonal, display a more developed social consciousness, are more aware of relational shifts, and have a strong need to belong. They are exhibit desire for independence and autonomy, and they experience a shift in dependence on family to dependence on peers. No? So, able to critically compare parents with others. Careful ta sa mga parents no about the kuan na kanang it's too late yun to discipline young people or young at this age no. So sa gamay pag yun dapat yun ilaha nga disiplinahon. Dapat atog yung disiplinahon. Seek deeper friendship based on shared interest, loyalty. Experience increased interest in opposite sex, though may often feel uncomfortable and awkward with the other sex. So social interpersonal, they could exhibit their own dependent or nang makakuha na sila their own desire. Okay? So moral tend to be legalistic, focusing on rules and fairness. Refrain more belief of parents, but begin to test rules of childhood. Are influenced by the values of peers. Form a more personal conscience, seek moral criteria that make sense to them, and exhibit a stronger sense of responsibility towards larger society. Okay, so and also in spiritual, so naagyapon sila development in spiritual, exhibit a primitive faith, in identifying shaped by family and community, are open to service opportunities primarily to correct with peers, test skills, and they could also open to new prayer experience. Yes. Seek adult role models who live their faith authentically. So they seek adult role or models. Desire a deeper relationship with God and begin moving away from religious imagery, beliefs, and practices of childhood. Many begin to explore new images of God. So in spiritual, they experience, they know how to pray. They are very nang kuano kanang they are open to service opportunities na. So they wala nga sa mga kabatan-unan madasig ginagdaghan nga mga nindot nga mga services sa church na ay mga fellowship na kay diri nga stage mao na ang ilaha nga kalipay. Okay? So let's proceed to the common problems of adolescents. I think this is the last topic na ako ang i-share sa inyo about the young problem. The problems of the youth in this stage. So problems of the stage of adolescent. The adolescent is a problem individual. There are many problems around him and he needs help and guidance for their solution at every step. The following problems are the most significant in this stage. So let's have this problems. First is excessive energy. So adolescent is the stage of excessive energy. Intake of food is increased in this stage and general health is also improved. The result is excessive energy. The adolescent needs more activity for catharsis of excessive energy. So grabe na sila ang adolescent. So, grabe sila nga mo kailangan ng health. They improve, then intake of food is improved. So unsay nga buhaton, our traditional schools do not provide such physical activity. Consequently, the adolescent is restless. Various activities act as sublimation for the adolescents and they feel relieved. So, at sa ang school, if as we really need to have the physical activities sa school, like various activities. Okay? kay mao na ilaha nga maka-feel, they feel relieved with it in the different activities in school. So next is misunderstandings concerning sex. So they dili kayo nila masabtan about what is sex or unsa gina nga sex, okay? So kung dili sila makahibaluan ni concerning sex, they are lacking or lack of understandings about sex. So they produce emotional upheaval in the adolescent. So the first appearance of menstrual course or nocturnal emission bewilders and shocks the adolescent who is quite ignorant about it. So mahimo sila nga ma-shock sila about ani kung they are not dili nato ipasabot sa ilaha, no? The school should supply right kind of information regarding sex at this stage. So in our school, that we really need to inform the students or the young ones regarding sex, especially at this stage. Kaya if they are ignorant, then mauna sila nga mga ginapanghitabo na karon sa mga youth nga ignorante pagyud kaayo about ani. So due to ignorance about sex, many promising personalities are doomed. So next is aggressiveness or withdrawal. So what is this aggressiveness or withdrawal? When an adolescent cannot adjust himself with the world, he grows to be aggressive or withdraws from the field and his personality is arrested. If the conflict is too serious, he regresses. So, unsa may ato ang buhaton as a school? The school should provide ample opportunities to the children to express themselves properly. Co-curricular activities, scouting students, mao na natay Boy Scout and Girl Scout, and change method instructions can go a long way in enabling the adolescent to adjust him with the world. Okay? So, since nga magka-grow ang ilahang aggressiveness, no, in the field, so we sa school pod, especially with all teachers, so we have co-curricular activities. Okay? So next is usapod ni rebellious attitude. So sa young adolescent naapod gyapon ni nga mahimo gyud nga rebellious, no? They should be recognized. The adolescents are no more children. They should be recognized as young men and women in the school as well as in the home. Okay, not just in the school, but of course in the home. Their craving for independence should be satisfied to some extent. So ganahan naman sila nga sila makastand, no? Sila na ilahan ng mga decisions and also their choices. They should be given some responsibility. So as a parent or a school, unsa may atoha nga or as a teacher, unsa may atoha nga buhaton. Okay, so they turn to be very obedient if they are trusted, but things do not work so smoothly in ordinary schools and homes. Their sense of independence and responsibility is seldom recognized. The result is rebellion against authority. So, kung sila no, if they are, kung ganahan sila nga like sa children, sa mga batanon karon gusto nila nga gusto kana nga butanga, but if the parents kay ilaha na nga dili na to na i-recognize ang ilaha nga ang ilaha nga choices pod sometimes, then they will become rebellious. We have parents also can decide the good or the betterment for their kids, but not always nga imuha lang gyud sige nga imuha lang maoy matuman kay once nga imuha nga sige ituman sila or imuhang kaugalingon as parents or teachers maoy mga matuman, then they will become rebellious. But if we nang mo listen pud ta sa ilaha nga side, no? So ato pong i-recognize ang ila, then that's the time nga they could share sa parents and also the teachers their some of their decisions and their choices, and we need also to explain to them kung unsa gyud consequence nga mahitabo if they will choose that. Okay? So next, physical awkwardness. So awkward na sila sa ilahang physical. Most of the adolescents have the feeling of physical clumsiness. Consequently, their movements tend to be awkward and unbalanced. They may be corrected in the playground and on the stage. So at this kuan kay kung the way sila maglakaw or the way sila magstand, murag awkwarda na sila, no? Awkwarda na maulaw, no maulaw kung angayan ba sila. Okay? Like games and dancing will give them harmonious and balanced movement. Social service at the occasion of festivals like that and practical works can help the children in this respect. So, physical awkwardness, mao po ni usa nga ma-feel sa mga kabatan-unan when they are in the crowd or they kung sa ilahang nga panglihok, no? Kung angayan, no? Kung angayan ba sila, the way they stand, the way they walk. Okay. So, next is excessive daydreaming. Okay, so naapod ni sa mga adolescent di I know na excessive daydreaming. Daydreaming is normal at this stage, but when it grows to excessive, it may be injurious as far as development personality is concerned. So, mas magrabi na gyud kung excessive na gyud kayo ang ilahang daydreaming. No, the teacher should note that the adolescents are active and busy in their studies and other aspects of school life. The children indulging in excessive daydreaming should be encouraged to be constructive and creative. So, para nga makahelp ta ni ini nga problems sa batan-on, then we teachers or we the school or the parents should mangita gyud paagi nga dili sila maka experience ni ini. They should be encouraged to be constructive and creative in the activities or they would nang mabisi sila sa studies. The next is emancipation. So pagpaling kawas or what's that? Emancipation. It is ambition for freedom from parental sovereign. The individual hates control of the parents. He seeks identity to himself. So like kani I don't know kung di man gyud siguro no talagsa ra gyud ni kaayo nga mahitabo gyud sa it is the ambition for freedom man from parental sovereign. Okay, so academic independence. Okay, academic independence. Okay, so mao na ni problema sa mga kabatan-unan. This is another problem of economic independence. Money from parents for personal expense is a major problem. So ganahan na ni sila nga makakwarta, no, for their own expense. Okay, so ganahan ni sila nga mangi kwarta. Okay, okay, mao na ang ato ang it's a role gyapon and responsibility sa mga parents on how to handle or discipline the young ones. Next is emotional tension. So naagya po emotional tension ang mga kabatan-unan. Emotional development is at maximum and unstable. Self-respect and personal pride make the individual emotionally bad. He expects the things to be done as he aspires. So, dali ra kayo po nang masakitan ang mga kabatan-unan. Okay? Self-respect and personal pride. So, mao gina nga sa mga kabatan-unan na careful data especially mao na nga daghan na kaayo nga mga kabatan-unan no nga suicide na okay, they are emotionally maybe hurt na. So, mao na yung mga problema sa mga kabatan-unan. And next is, naapod gyapon di ay sila personal appearance. So, naapod sila problem sa ilahang appearance. Yes, this is a significant problem. The adolescent is much more worried about the appearance in modern and latest lifestyle at any cost. So mao po ni ang ilang nga problem into personally, no? Personally sa ilang nga outward appearance. Okay. So another is this developmental problems or morphological. So ilahang nga problem is overgrowth of hair or undergrowth of hair, overweight and underweight, skin color problems, facial deformities, pimples, limb deformities, abnormal growth of genitals and breasts, the developmental problems. Okay, next is psychological problems. They are ignorant about many basic facts, leads to psychological problems like misconceptions about sexual feelings, sex-related issues. And they are fear about sex and sexual issues, guilt feeling about sex-related issues. Okay, so monay sa psychological problems of the youth. Okay, naay daghan nga mga psychological problems, inferiority or superiority complex about skin color, beauty, mental ability, and IQ. So mao po ni nga like sa personal appearance nila no problem or personal problem as well. Then inexplicable perceptions about dress and fashion codes, no, wrong and unrealistic ideologies about friendship and courtship, perceptional or communicational or preconceived complications about their teachers and parents, attraction towards opposite sex, unrealistic and illogical curiosity about sex and sex-related issues, exceptional vulnerability to suicide psychology. So mao gini ang stage nga grabe ka mga problematic na mga kabatan-unan. So they have na vulnerable gid kaayo ang suicide, especially when gamay ra kayo, especially daghan na kayo mga news karon, mga estudyante, mga nga ilahang nga ingana nga mga stages, no, na atuag yun yung careful as teachers and as parents to these ages. Okay, so second to the last na social. Sa social nila, anticipated unemployment and insecurity due to unemployment and warranted and inevitable hatredness towards brothers or sisters or friends. Oh, intense closeness with brothers or sisters or friends. Unpredictable and volatile relationships with friends. Unrealistic social perceptions about violence, love, sex as influenced by media. Unusually vulnerable and volatile relations with relatives, fear or imagination about married life partners. So murag magkuan na sila sa life partners about the married life. In education as well, naagyapon sila problems, tensions of attending the classes, examinations and tests. So silang they are tensions na some man jud some raman sa mga kabatan-unan karon nga na ay tension about this, no, they are especially in examinations and tests, attending the classes, okay, and low IQ feeling, mubo na gyud ang ilahang IQ, fear about failure in examination, they have also fear about low score, no, so mauna nga we heard the news, I don't know if it's true, nga ang nag-suicide na lamang kay wala gidawat ang iyahang nga module sa iyahang nga teacher. So mao gina way nga nahadlok sila because they have fear about failure, no, about mabubo ang ilahang nga score. Fear and concern about a future career, no? So naapogyapon sila fear ani and concern about their career in the future and misconceptions about teachers, no? So we teachers and as parents as well, I do believe that most of you there, kay or some of you, kay parents naman, then we have also this responsibility nga as we all know nga maumang gyud ni ang mga problema sa mga youth, then what we are going to do with them, especially in this time, no? In this time of pandemic, as teachers, no, they have this fear, no, especially in education. Okay, so let me share these two passages before I end this slide. No, two passages na last na ko. Since as we all know, no, nga this is we are now in the last days, and we all know that young ones kay mao ni sign ngano nga nagka-problema sila, what ngano nga naing-ani sila, they have their problems, they have their tensions or depression. So according to 2 Timothy chapter 3 verses 1 to 4, there will be terrible times in the last days. I will focus here lang ang mga kabatanunan in the last days, disobedient to their parents. Okay? So they are disobedient to their parents. Mao ni nga mga stages nga or we are in the last days na, because we could really experience the youth or the children who some of them are disobedient to their parents, ungrateful and holy without love and forgiving, no, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of the good, okay, and lovers of pleasures rather than lovers of God. So mauni nga mga panghitabo in the last days, no, in the last days dili nato ikalimod, because it's written in the Bible that these problems of the youth na mauna ni ang mga last days. But as parents, I do believe that most of you are having this problem. Maybe you are worried about your children, but this verse, I want you, ganahan ko nga ipabilin ninyo kini, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God. As teachers or as parents, we really need to pray for the good or for the betterment of our kids, of our children. So that's all. Thank you for listening, and God bless us all.
Having a good time with the gabas.
Okay, Miss Bardock, are you done?
Yes, Doc.
So, isa may sunod nga reporter sa inyo. Kay para
Ma'am
mahuman.
Tanya.
Ha?
Ma'am Tanya.
Ma'am Tanya, may I hear words from you? Okay, go. Kalumpong Ma'am Tanya. You're discussing what?
Okay,
What
sir,
is your-
good morning. I'm discussing about social class and success in school.
Okay, go. You may.
Okay, na ng slides. Good morning.
Wala pa, ma'am.
Wala pa. How to?
Wala pa ma.
How to share the slide. Tensa. Nana? Good morning.
Wala pa Japon, ma'am. Ato sa
Good
open
morning,
session.
ma'am. Wala pa.
Ma'am, come again, ma'am. Add to start share.
Open session. Kanang dool sa microphone nimo, ma'am.
Oo, kajut ma'am ha. Kita sa ko. Sorry, mangita sa ko kajut. Nawala akong microphone.
Okay lang, Ma'am Tan. Madunggan ra ka, Ma'am Tan.
Nana?
Wala gyapon, Ma'am.
Good, ma'am.
PowerPoint, no files available. Ano ni? PowerPoint, no files available.
Ingat, sorry.
Okay,
Kana,
take
Ma'am
your time,
Tan.
take your time, take your time. Ayaw
Kana.
lang ka stress.
Okay na,
Sana.
ma'am. Okay na, ma'am.
Okay na,
No
Ma'am.
Nana?
problem.
Andyan na po.
Okay, just take your time, Miss.
Nawala, Ma'am Tan. Okay na unta to.
Tarantated. Wait sa.
Tanya Kalumpong, ayaw lang. Kalma lang,
Sir.
kalma lang. Okay? Take your time, take your time, take your time. Normal ra na.
Okay na, Ma'am Tan. Kita na.
Nana?
Yes, Ma'am.
Dili man ang maong. Wait. This one. Kana. Okay na? Ay, wait.
I-exit sa to, Ma'am Tan.
Kani, exit ni.
I-exit
Exit
sa
po
na.
ni.
I-exit sa na.
Exit na. Okay, so kana. Dayon.
Katong imong presentation, Ma'am Tan.
Okay. Nana?
Wala pa. Hapit na.
Sige, mga pisa ta. Mga pisa ta,
Okay
sir.
na,
Doktor.
imuha nga.
Open da na ko niya akong PowerPoint. O kana,
Oo.
open na siya. Dayon.
Mga pisa
Pangitaon
ta,
ako
take your time, take
Ato
your
pa sa
time.
share.
Sit up
Nako,
lang,
open
sit up.
share.
Ah,
PowerPoint loading.
ah.
Okay ra, okay ra.
No files available. Nana?
So far, wala pa. So far, wala pa. If that won't work out, okay, you can, you can read it na lang. Kung di gid mahimo, so all you have to do is to read na lang your report or discuss. Okay naman. Nindot
Ah,
mangugayo ang
sige.
naguna si Sir Nigel.
Gani. Stress ko laman ta din. Guwapa pud kaayo tong gasunod.
Oh, si Bart.
Oh, well, ga
Dili
report sila do
pakita yang
kasang
kagwapa.
kasang pugkuan.
Yang kagwapa
Well, ga
dili pakita bati.
While ga-report sila, gakasang-kasang pukog kanang shorten may report kay bali yung napa may duha ka buok mosunod na ako good.
So,
Nya napay
as long as
Q&A.
you can expand the topic well, it's good.
Na ako na laman ning basahon, everyone. Ako biya
Sige
ning
na.
gigama. No files available. How?
Gi-open nimo
Microphone.
daan, ma'am. Ang tan,
Oh,
gi-open nimo daan imuhang file nga i-present.
open na sir.
Unya pag pislit sa arrow, naatoy option dito makita nimo to imong gi-present. Present.
So open na to siya, the microphone, then sa right side sa microphone na ay close share tray. Then arrow down.
Na ay arrow going up, ma'am tan.
Oh, na arrow going up. So man akong gi-click.
Pag press nimo, may mga
Click the arrow.
options. Unya na options imong i-present nga naka-open na daan imong PowerPoint. Yes, Ma'am Tan. Nana, Ma'am Tan.
Nana?
Okay na, kita na.
Okay, kita na.
Okay.
Saan mo nakita, sir?
Klaro na.
Ay, salamat.
Klaro na po.
Sige, klaro na. Klaro na. Ako magud ni siyang gihilabtan ganiha kay akong gikuha og ubang slides kay taas ra pod so para mo gamay-gamay. So I will start now. Good morning everyone. Okay, my report is about thank you for waiting. Social class and success in school. So we start with a definition of terms. Social class, a division of a society based on social and economic status. A group of people with similar socio-economic status or standing within the society based on the level of income, education, and occupation. Social classes range from low to high and often reveal inequalities in terms of power, influence, and access to resources. Educational attainment means the degree or level of completed education of a person on the basis of the following: elementary, high school, technical, vocational, bachelor's degree in college, master in graduate school, and doctorate in postgraduate studies. Okay, so we will go to the social class. Asa man ta na belong, teacher 1? Hello mga teacher 1. Wala na teacher 1 diri. So, hello.
Yes, hello.
Ay, daghang teacher 1. Teacher 1, so niata diri sa atong monthly income. So niata diri between 20 to 41. So niata's lower middle income class. Hooray, teacher 1. Dayong si Doctor, Doc, pila imong monthly income, Doc? Nakadiris ko andok, no?
Cebu City.
Cebu City. So nakadiris ko upper middle, ay nadagway ka diris ko. 73.
Registrar
Upper
ko
middle.
sa St. Anthony at morning, at evening. Professor ko sa CBD, private, and then Sa Cebu Doctor sa Saturday. So,
Oh, daghan nag-income. Daghan kay kag income dok, kay napa kay kuan. Napa kay mga negosyo dok. Kuan nila
di na lang ko mag-mention.
wala na nga mga online selling, mga
Wala
plantitos,
pa.
plantitas, wala.
Wala
Oh,
online.
so,
Wala pa ng online selling.
oh my god ka dok. So nakas upper middle class. So kami after
Hope so.
aning amo ang kuan masteral, baso mo ari na mi diris kuan dapit
Panghatag,
middle
Dok.
Higher class na mo. Higher class na mo. Higher class na.
ha? Kani alahan ko maabot as rich.
Panghatag, Dok.
Ay, panghatag og kuan, kaladyum.
Okay. Taga Surigao ka?
Ako,
You're from Surigao, no?
Ako, sir, I'm from Shaton. Shaton venue.
So you're not from Surigao, I guess.
I am from Shaton venue. I am the only one from Shaton, so I own the Shaton venue. Ako rin taga Shaton, anang Shaton venue.
Wow.
So, wala ko'y silingan.
Laisyo kay you own Shaton.
Yes, I own Shaton. Shaton venue. Ako rin taga Shaton. Sige. So, facts about the middle class. No, I chose the middle class because obvious na kaayo tong mga rich nga maka-afford good sila better education and they will be more successful in terms of education. So, diri na lang ta sa middle class dapit. And,
Ayaw, ikaw to.
Ha?
Para sige pa na yun.
Ito is middle class dapit. O, then, katong mga lower class, dili lang po
Kami na, lower class, kami na.
Nya, ug lower class ka unsa naman lamang mi dito underground class. Lower class na niya kami, underground na lamang ni underground class.
Upper mo.
Sige, facts about the middle class in the Philippines. So let's talk about the Philippines in the Philippine setting. Dili na lang sa ta atong about much talking about katong mga American setting, mga westernized. Let's talk about middle class in the Philippines. Middle-income households have significantly greater access to education, health, and other services, not necessarily from the government. They have higher educational attainment, which is why more of them have better quality jobs. Middle-class families spend more on their children's education, sending them to private schools and getting them tutorial services. Middle-class households are less dependent on the government, shifting away from using public services and leaning towards private ones. This is especially true in the case of transportation, healthcare, and education. So reading about the facts for the middle class, I can say that ako to aragod ay puko sa lower middle class because I cannot afford tutorial. I cannot afford my own transportation. Wala ko'y car. And I cannot afford other private services. So, ato na po ko magpa-check up sa kuan sentro. Kung magpa-check up sa medical center. So, nanaguday ko sa lower middle class. Okay, social class differences are likely to affect the academic performance of children. Number one, personality and child-rearing differences. So nga naman yun nga, while looking at the children sa atong mga students, pagsulod pa nato sa room na ay 50 kabog students, maglantaw tanilang tanan, mura instinct na natong teacher, maka-determine nga kana siya kay load ko sa gini kahibalo ning bataan ni mailara si Chura. Sa, kaning bataan ni smart lagi ni. So wala patakailan nila. Okay, personality and child-rearing differences. Upper middle-class parents have jobs where they are expected to collaborate with fellow employees, create new solutions to problems, or wonder how to improve their contributions. They are more likely to talk to their children in ways that differ from the ways of lower-class parents, whose own jobs simply require them to follow instructions without questions. Children who are raised by parents who are professionals will on average have more inquisitive attitudes toward the material presented by their teachers than with children who are raised by working class parents. As a result, No matter how competent the teacher, the academic achievement of lower class children will on average almost inevitably be less than of middle class children. The probability of this reduced achievement increases as the characteristics of lower social class families accumulate. Okay, so nagkadaghan ning naa sa lower social class, magkadaghan po di ay ni mga children nga less achievers. Okay, kana di ay muhatag tag instruction sa mga bata no nya. Kanang mga bata nga bisag unsa na to balik-balik dugay kayo makakuha in tawon sa instructions. While others kausarang sulti makatuman gihapon because it boils down to their breeding, how their parents reared them. Yung sa pagpadako, yung sa pag nurture sa parents. Health differences. Lower class children on average have poorer vision than middle class children, partly because of prenatal conditions, partly because of how their eyes are trained as infants. They have proper oral hygiene, poorer oral hygiene, more lead poisoning, more asthma, poor nutrition, less adequate pediatric care, more exposure to smoke, and a host of other problems. So, sigig absent, kay siging gadaot, gamay kado. Unaffordability of adequate housing. Children whose families have lower income and have difficulty finding stable housing are more likely to be mobile, and students' mobility is an important cause of low student achievement. It is hard to imagine how teachers, no matter how well trained, could be as effective for children who move in and out of their classrooms as teachers can be for children whose attendance is regular. So in our case, there is the Philippines. Dili kaayo problema ang renting, house rental, mao'y reason for mobility, magbalhin-balhin. Usually, the reason for mobility, sigig balhin-balhin og lugar is the job opportunity. Kung asa ang daghang katubhan, to ako dito mamalhin. Kung asa tong fishing ground, better fishing ground, at tupod mamoyo. So, sige, transfer ang mga students. Okay, my other topic is about race, long spelling, ethnicity, and success in school. What yun? Okay, definition of terms. Race, a category of humankind that shares certain distinctive physical traits. Ethnicity is a large group of people classed according to common racial, national, tribal, religious, linguistic, or cultural origin or background. Definition for racial and ethnic categories. Okay, so kani global na ni siya. American Indian or Alaska Native. These are a person having origins in any of the original peoples of North and South America, including Central America, and who maintains tribal affiliation or community attachment. Asian, person having origins in any of the original peoples of the Far East, Southeast Asia, or the Indian subcontinent, including, for example, Cambodia, China, India, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Pakistan, the Philippine Islands, Thailand, and Vietnam. Black or African American, a person having origins in any of the Black racial groups of Africa. Terms such as Haitian or Negro can be used in addition to Black or African American. Hispanic or Latino, a person of Cuban, Mexican, Puerto Rican, South or Central American, or other Spanish culture or origin, regardless of race. The term Spanish origin can be used in addition to Hispanic or Latino. Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander, a person having origin in any of the original peoples of Hawaii, Guam, Samoa, or other Pacific Islands. White, a person having origin in any of the original peoples of Europe, Middle East, or North Africa. So, dili di ay tanang white Americano na di ay mga white nga from the Middle East. Okay, minorities in the Philippines. We are not talking about ethnic groups in the Philippines. This is based on 2000 census. 75 different ethnic groups. The main ethnic and regional groups are Tagalog, Cebuano, Ilocano, Bisaya, Binisaya, Hiligaynon, Ilonggo, Bicol, and Waray. These are just the main. So napatoy daghan kaayong ginagmay. Okay? So based on academic performance, this is data from grade 8 performance, okay, by race in science, grade 8. So in science, the best performer are the white, okay, and then followed by Asian, the Pacific Islander, and then the American, Indian, Alaska Native, and Hispanic, then the black. Okay, so kitang Asian, bright putag science, oh, second in rank. What about reading? Pwede ba tang mubasa, mga Asian? Yes, of course, number 1. Okay, ambot lang ato mga non-reader nga na-promote man gyapon tong non-reader. So, okay, counted gyapon to diri best reader kay na-promote man. And ang list, again, the black. Okay, average national assessment of educational progress. Math. Kinsay pinaka-bright sa math nga race? Bulungan nato ng Asian B. O Asian o dera. So dili pud pabintaha ang Asian. Taas-taas pud ta, bright pud ta. Kinsa may kulilat sa math? The black again kulilat sa math. Okay, now this data is about the level of educational attainment by ethnicity. So, looking at the legend, sa right side, we have level of education level. Ang light blue, the lightest one, some high school, and then followed by some college, and then college and graduate. Now, let's look, pangitaon nato ang Filipino. Let's look for the Filipino. So, here. Ang pinakadako nato nga attainment is college. So daghan kaayong nakahuman og college sa Filipinos, sa Philippines. Okay, pinakagamay nato high school. Nakahuman ra og high school meaning wala ni proceed to college. So maura na. So daghan tang college because gamay ra tang high school because pagkahuman og high school ni college man. Unlike aning Vietnamese, okay, diri sa farthest right, the Vietnamese, gamay ra sila graduate sa graduate school, gamay ra sila ni sa graduate school. And then, dute ra pud sila college, ang ilahang daghan nga educational attainment naa sa high school. Why school success is important? Importante gyud ay na mag-eskwela. Academic success is important because it is strongly linked to the positive outcomes we value. Adults who are academically successful and with high levels of education are more likely to be employed, have stable employment, have more employment opportunities than those with less education, and earn higher salaries, are more likely to have health insurance, are less dependent on social assistance, are less likely to engage in criminal activity, are more active as citizens and charitable volunteers, and are healthier and happier. Academic success is important because working people will need higher levels of education to tackle the technologically demanding occupation of the future. Nowadays, you need a post-secondary graduate in order to get a job. Academically successful adolescents have higher self-esteem, have lower levels of depression and anxiety, are socially inclined, and are less likely to abuse alcohol and engage in substance abuse. Positive self-esteem and self-confidence are critical factors in commitment to academic success. So mao ni connected po ni sa report ni Ma'am Melissa ganiha nga ang adolescents are more likely to commit suicide, more likely to be uh, depressed kung dili nila ma-achieve ang ilahang educational attainment. Jaran, education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself, according to John Dewey, and this was also mentioned by Sir Nigel. That ends my report. Thank you. Thank you, Doc. Okay. Kita lang ta sa Q&A later.
Thank you, Ma'am Tan.
Thank you.
Later ako magturo og mga questions ninyo sa group 1. Sa
Okay,
grupo
sir.
ni Nigel. I
Okay,
just want to
Doc.
finish the whole group.
Okay.
The first group rather.
Next reporter, Doc, is Sir Richmond Abueva.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I am going to share my screen. Okay. Sir Nige, do you see the slides now?
Yeah, go ahead, Sir Rich. Okay na, Sir Rich. Go ahead,
Wait.
Sir Rich.
Okay. So, good morning, everyone. I'm Richmond Abueva, and I'll be sharing today two topics. The first topic, reasons for low achievement among low students, and the second one will be those schools equalize opportunity. So, the first topic, I'll be sharing with you some studies where uh, clearly shows us that low students uh, relatively attain low achievement, okay, in their academic performance. So let me start by defining first what do we mean by low achievement. According to Arimo 2003, low achievement he referred as poor academic performance. When we say poor academic performance, um, when we say poor academic performance, the student falls expected standard. And according also to summer 2015, that low achievement, uh, students got low or have weaknesses of or low or weaknesses of students mark under the normal average. Okay, so that basically uh, low achievement, it means students have poor academic performance. Okay? Ug matod pa tong Ma'am Tanya, kulilat. That's the first time I heard that word. Okay? So kulilat daw. So the second one, we will define also what do we mean by low student. Okay? And basically I type this into Google Chrome or in a search engine, and all of the results basically um, the same definition, a class of students below the middle class. Okay, Ma'am Tanya mentioned about middle class, and when we say low students, these are a group of students who belong to the middle class and having lowest social rank or standing due to low income. So basically, in our own terms, kaning mga low students kana yung na nagkalisod or mga pobre in town nga mga students. And the next one, we are going to look at how does it affect, or we will look at studies that shows that naabadyoy effect ng low students sa ilaha pong achievement or academic performance. So we are going to start when we say low students, these are students with low status or low socio-economic status. And we will look at usalan ang ilahang relevance sa ilahang low status o ilang academic performance. There's a study held in Boston University because they decided to offer scholarship sa mga low income or low status nga mga students. And before they provided the scholarship, they asked some researchers kani si KM Soria, Winner, si Lou. They asked them to conduct a study o unsalan gyud result o kung unsalan gyud connection kung low og status ang mga estudyante meaning pobre sa ilahang academic performance. And based on the result, according here, I cannot read the entire paragraph for the sake of time, but I will just read the highlighted one. Negative impact their immediate academic experience. So, naagyoy something wrong if ever students are low in status. When we say low in status, socioeconomic status, meaning pobre. And another study also here conducted by Whitaker and Darnon and Chazal, 2015, they said that thus a seemingly psychological factor or self-efficacy, meaning when we say self-efficacy, students' belief on their self or self-confidence actually depends on social status and further contributes to explain how low or socioeconomic status students poor performance in school. So, kana po di ay og example kung ang bata pobre siya, so gamay iyang confidence and he's not confident on his studies, dayong of course mo result po na dito sa iyang academic performance in school according to this study. And another study shows this one like very alarming because according to the study of Reardon, Valentino, and like here, children from low socioeconomic status families, meaning pobre nga mga bata, enter high school with average literacy skills 5 years behind those high-income students. And when I read this, like, mo di I know nga, ako po sa gikan po ko kanang pobre kay nga family when I started to kuan patong na in college and I tried to compare myself with other students. Like tingala ko nga mga bright man kay ni sila and kay mga dato sila ba gikan sila mga tsada nga mga eskwelahan, ako gikan ko sa bukid kayo sa Negros sa Mabinay. So among mga teacher dito talagsa ra mo tungha. So muna according ani nga study, 5 years behind. And oh, okay. And another study also from National Center of Education Statistics 2014, high school dropout rate among persons nga nag-edad og 16 to 24 years old was highest in low income, meaning katukunong mga dropout kalabanan sa daghan nga mga dropout katug yung mga bata nga low income, coming from low income families. Another study here, Dowershak et al. 2016, much lower than that of students who do not come from underrepresented background. So kani kanong mga bata nga mubo gyud sila og success rate sa science, sa technology, sa engineering ug sa mathematics nga discipline katunang mga bata nga gikan gyud tawon sa kanang mubo nga status. And I think this is the last two nga akong i-mention here, but there are many. You can search it in Google Scholar, and a lot of study shows nga mubo gyud og academic performance ang mga bata nga gikan sa low status. Okay? So, according to the US Census Bureau 2014, individuals within the top family income quartile are 8 times more likely to obtain bachelor's degree. And when I read this, like, it's heartbreaking because ang kalabanan ra nga makapurso sa ilahang graduate studies or bachelor's degree are those students nga nagyo ika like na sila'y ikakaya nga eskwela. But anyways, later on I'll be showing those schools equalize opportunity. I'll be showing some programs of the government which helps the poor citizens of the country nga makaeskwela ra gid gihapon. And Buckingham 2013, children from low socioeconomic status families are less likely to have experiences that encourage the development of fundamental skills of reading accusations such as phonological awareness, vocabulary, and oral language. So another studies also that shows nga most likely gamay gud ilahang improvement in terms of reading accusation kaning mga language nga mga subjects. So why nganong ingon ana? What are the reasons nganong nga if students came from a low socioeconomic status, they will most likely nga they could attain a poor academic performance. So here I'll just mention 7, but there are like many, but I'll just mention the top 7. Okay, the number 1 is lack of financial resources. According to, I don't know how to pronounce this, whole 2014, additionally compared to high socioeconomic status counterparts, young adults from low socioeconomic backgrounds are at a high risk of according student loan. So, posible nga kato mga bata nga mga kwartahan dili na to mangutang. And if those students who came from low socioeconomic status, most likely magsige sila pangutang unya mapuno na sila gutang sangkong dili na sila makapadayon og eskwela. So muna siya nga maglisod og usa nga rason. Very simple gyud, lack of financial resources. Next one, nganong mga kulilat, tutod pang Ma'am Tanya, kulilat ang mga bata. Second, lack of learning materials and experiences. According to this study, children's initial reading competency are correlated with the home literacy environment. Okay? So, presented by Sir Nigel, nga supposedly, education should start at home. So, for example, kung pobre pa gyud ang ilang balay, wala sila yung mga materials dito sa ilang balay nga mga books nga makatabang sa ilang bata nga ma-improve ilang reading. And next, another study, however, poor household have less access of learning materials and experiences, including books, computers, simulating toys, skill building lessons, and tutors to create a positive literacy environment. So, mo ni, wala, kulang ang mga bata, lack of learning materials and experiences. Second. Third, lack of access to online and of course. So, maglisod pa gani ang mga bata. According to this study, prospective college students from low socioeconomic status backgrounds are less likely to have access informational resources online. So, according to this study, ang mga bata gyud nga maglisod, of course, very common sense to everyone here that those students nga ulay kwarta tawon maglisod pa ganig makaon. maka mag-computer pa no, common sense maglisod gyud sila og kuha sa mga resources online. So muna, and basically it would affect to their academic performance. And fourth, lack of access to prestige schools and facilities. I don't know if pila nato diri that we really admire Siliman. And if I do have enough money, for sure I will take up my master's degree in Siliman. Why? Because it's one of the prestige school in the country, and they have enough facilities in Dumaguete City. Siliman Library is the biggest and complete library among all universities and colleges around Dumaguete City. So, and basically, if we could, even in Asia, Siliman is one of the outstanding school. Now, according to the study that found out, Chetty et al. 2011, students who were randomly assigned to higher quality classroom in grades kinder to 3 earned more, were more likely to attend college. Like, what kind of study is this? Nga, bisan pa gani kuno og bata pa nga gipa-eskwela sa prestige nga school, nga nang tsada nga mga classroom, nga dito pa sa kindergarten until grade 3, they were more likely can attend college. Okay? So, bisag bata pa, bisag dito pa sa grade 1 nimo pa-eskwela nimo sila gsyada nga mga eskwelahan, most likely they will be interested to take up college degree. So, another study also, teachers' years of experience and quality of training are correlated with children's academic achievement. Of course, kung ang mga teacher kay expert gyud, na ginay maka-improve gina sa academic experience or achievement of the students, according to the study of Jimbert, Ball, and Wallace 2007. And in connection with that study, children in low-income schools are less likely to have a qualified teacher. So, kato po taong mga school nga mga kalabanan gyud, based according to the study, kalabanan nga mga prestige schools, ila gyud pong gipang hire dira kato gyud pong mga banggiitan nga mga professor, kato gyud mga pinakanindot gyud nga mga teacher sad. So kung dito, if we will send our students and our kids in that prestige schools who have expert professors and teachers, most likely our students could get better instruction, and it would result to a positive academic achievement. Okay? So let's go to fifth, lack of motivational. Kani, I experienced this because I came from a very poor family where my parents are busy on their job in the Lamakan and in the Baol, and they don't have time to cheer up their children in their studies. And like una, for sure, importante yun kayo. And this one, I will just look the underline. Moreover, the unstable family situations make students live in a state of tension, confusion, lack of concentrating during the exam, which will reflect negative on the academic performance. Okay? So, klaro kayo nga, ang mga pobre gyud pod came from low socioeconomic status ng mga bata, most likely dili gyud kayo sila maka-perform. But anyways, there are achievers that came from kuan pod, mga low socioeconomic status. And sayop din ni akong numbering. Actually, I mentioned 7, kay 7 ako nakitaan, but na-repeat din ako, duha day ka 5. So, total of 8. According to this study, Barakat and Harz Ala 2010 study addressed the reasons for low level of academic achievement in mathematics, since I'm my major is mathematics, so I want to end up the reasons for low achievement sa mga low students. Akong gikuha gyud, nangita gyud ko, actually I've been searching for dapat kana yung mga bata nga low achievement in mathematics, pero murag maora jud ning usa mo akong nakitaan. Nakita ko perti ng dugaya mga 1990s, mga 1980s pa nga mga study, and very very old study. So kani akong gikuha, according to him, ah usa nga mga rason daw kuno nga ang mga bata kulilat sa math because of health problem. Because according, I cannot put up all the studies nga iyang gikandak diri, but according to his study nga ang bata daw nga came from poor, low socioeconomic status, most likely walay tarong pagkaon sa ilang balay, muna nga dili kayo mga bright kay walay sustansya, health problem, no, magkasakit, mga low og kuan immune system, and we know that tsakto nga pagkaon will give students tsakto pod nga kanang brain nga maka-function. So katong mga bata came from low socioeconomic status, most likely na gyud sila yung mga health problem. Next, lack of sense of belongingness. Like students who came from low socioeconomic status background, for sure hindi abot nila sa eskwelahan, ilang mga friends nga mga dato dili kay sila kasabay didto. Okay? Kay lahat tawon ilang balon kay pinutos og dahog saging, ilang makauban didto mga nakakalderin gyud ilang mga balon dito. So muna nga uban nga mga bata, lack of sense of belongingness. And lastly, lack of self-desire to study gyud. Like most of the students who came from mountainous area, dili kay sila wala man gud sila na expose og mga successful nga mga tawo nga in academic way. So ilang nakita kay mga successful nga tawo sa ila katong dagkog lamakan, dagkog katubhan. So posible nga mao ra pud ilang i-admire kay mo to ilang nakit-an, sige, less exposure man sila sa mga tawo nga successful through academic kuan ba pursuan. So mao na nga lack of desire to study. Okay? So for the sake of, actually daghan unta ni diri nga ako isumpay like unsa may atong mahimo, but for the sake of time I will just jump directly to do schools, to the second topic, because the second topic will somehow address all of these problems. Okay? So do schools equalize opportunity. I tried to, if you would try to type this online, iwa mo tayo library, online ron gyud atong gidalaganan ron. And most, or like all of the countries around the world, around 1990s or 1980s time, there is a cry for that the school should equalize opportunity. For example, in Western country nga, like black Americans or like black people are like less ilang opportunity sa school. Katong mga pobre, less ilang opportunity. And recently karon nga mga like in this millennial time, I found out, I like ako gilantaw man sa uban nga mga countries, wala na ako gi-put up dire because they have the same result nga naningkamot gyud ang ilang mga state also to to equalize opportunity in our schools. Now, what we're going to do today, we will look at what the Republic of the Philippines iyang gibuhat to equalize opportunity in schools, or in public schools and even in private schools. So the question does before we go to the question, what do we mean by equality of opportunity? Okay, basically, I know that this is common sense to everyone, but equality of opportunity refers to the fairness of processes through which individuals with different backgrounds, when we say different backgrounds, maybe you came from different ethnic groups, or you came from different color of skin, you came from different socio-economic status, okay, when we say different backgrounds, or from different social groups, reach particular outcomes such as educational and occupational goals. Okay? So, when we say equality of opportunity, refers to fairness of process. Not just in education, but even in occupational goals. But what we are going to focus today, we'll just focus on educational. Tanaw na to kung ang atong mga eskwelahan, they offer equal opportunity. And basically, ang atong mga schools, they just reflected of what the government had. Okay? So, ug usa lang ray gi-impose sa government, of course, mo reflect yun na sa mga eskwelahan. Kung naigi-create ang government certain program to address some inequality in the school, mo gina i-reflect yun na sa school. So, the question, does the educational system in the Philippines equalize opportunity? So, actually, wala na ako nag-include diri og studies in other countries, and diri na lang yun sa Philippines ang ato i-focus. Okay? So, does the educational system in the Philippines equalize opportunity? We will find out. But in 2019, there was a conference held at University of the Philippines, and they called it Europa. When we say, what is Europa? Eastern Regional Organization of Public Administration. So, all the like mga leaders in education nag-gather sila. And according to Briones, social inequity is the lack of fairness and justice, deprivation of access to opportunities and resources such as education. So, meaning if education nato kuno dili gani kuno available sa tanan, meaning kana siya, it belongs to inequality of opportunity. So, we have been very engrossed with making education accessible for all Filipinos. So, ningon siya nga, ilagyod sa Philippines, gipaningkamutan jud kuno sa Department of Education nga ma-equalize gyud ang opportunity. So, after she said this statement, ningon siya nga, we equalize the opportunity in our schools by having the following programs. So, ako lang i-quote po ng iyang mga programs nga gipang mention, which proves that the Philippine educational system equalize opportunity sa atong mga schools. Okay? So, here are the programs and policies that equalize opportunity. Number one, naatay mga group of people nga gitawag og indigenous. Did our country made a program para ani nga mga tawo? Yes. We have DepEd Order number 22 series of 2016 I mean, refers to the program that supports education initiative undertaken through formal, non-formal, and informal modalities with emphasis on any of, but not limited to, the key areas of indigenous knowledge system and practices and communities. Basically, this DepEd order tells us nga dapat i-reach out gyud ang mga indigenous people. And another program na amtay mga gitawag pod nga mga like mga children with special needs. Thus, our government or the Department of Education created a program for them. Yes, we have a SPED program, DepEd Order number 26 series of 1997, support children with special needs integrated in regular schools. Okay? So, basically, naanatay program para sa mga indigenous people, naanatay program para sa mga bata nga mga with special needs. And what about ug kung naay kwan, naatay gitawag pog DepEd Child Protection Policy, DepEd Order number 40 series of 2012, institutionalize zero tolerance against any form of violence against the child, against the child, and provided for the establishment of child protection committee. So meaning dili na pwede nga og kung pobre ka naay magdaog-daog nimo. Di na pwede og kung student ka nga you came from broken family or broken home wala kay parents nga naay mo daog-daog nimo. So according to Briones, these programs help to equalize opportunity in our school. Naabot tay gitawag og Anti-Bullying Act of 2013, RA Republic Act number 10627. So basic act kita murag familiar na taan ni tanan. So next kani Governance on Basic Education Act of 2001, the Republic Act number 9155. So niingon diri section 2 declaration of the policy, it is hereby declared the policy of the state to protect and promote the right of all citizens to quality basic education. So meaning tanan nga citizen of the country, whether you are poor or rich, you have the right to the quality of basic education, and to make such education accessible to all by providing all Filipino children a free and compulsory education in elementary and free education in high school. Okay? So, tanan na to elementary o sa public school, natay public school nga free ra gyud ang elementary o ang high school. So, usa na nga program nga nag-prove nga in the Philippines, we equalize opportunity. Okay? And I don't know if this is the last. Implementation of the senior high school voucher program. Like, there are students nowadays nga nangandoy gyud, like I mentioned earlier in reasons for low achievement among low students, nga mas dako gyud achievement ang mga bata nga mo eskwela o mga prestige schools. So ang government ni create sila program nga ang mga bata pod makaeskwela tawon og siliman og foundation, university, kay para makataak pod sila prestige nga schools. So naay gihimo ang government nato nga voucher sa mga bata nga mo eskwela og mga private school. And ana pa di ay napud tay gitawag og mga out of school youth, katong mga wala na nangundang og eskwela kay tawon pobre kayo nang nanapas na laman. Napoy gihimo nga program ang atong Department of Education, DepEd Order number 64 series of 2011, Alternative Learning System, or we all know as ALS. Okay? So this program available ni siya sa mga bata nga mga wala na nang eskwela. Lastly, last mile school program. What do we mean by last mile school program? This is the PED memorandum number 059 series of 2019 nga to reach out to and close the gap between geographically isolated, disadvantaged, and conflict affected, like dito sa Marawi. So saan mo na kay nagsige maggira dito. So mga teacher ana maglisod na dito. So pero nag-create gyapon ang atong government of program nga bisag naay conflict dito, ma-reach out ra gyud gyapon nga makaeskwela ang mga bata. Thus the Philippine educational system, our schools equalize opportunity. And that's it. That's the end of my report. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sir Reg. Very nice, Reg. Very nice.
Thank you, thank you.
Dok. Doc, muted ka, Doc. Mute ka, Doc.
Ma'am Jap,
Sir Nige,
go ahead na lang si mong report, Ma'am Jap.
go ahead na ko.
Yes.
Sir Doc James, proceed na ko.
You may.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Saan naman eh?
Take down notes na ko. You may proceed. Joy!
Okay, once again, it's so hard to have a report and it's already 10 a.m. I don't know how to shorten everything since it's already 10:03 in the morning and we still have another class. Well, nevertheless, I would like to say good morning, everyone. I am your classmate, Jafet Rombo. So my topic is all about the traditional and versus revisionist interpretation about education. So all of their report, I realized that why we have traditional and revisionist interpretation, it's all because of those preceding reports. No, they mentioned about the problems about social class, and yeah, there are many more. So, from being a traditional, from being having this traditional concept, we have the revisionist, all because we have seen social stratifications, political issues are involved in education, racism, all of these things are present. So, let's do this. Okay, are you all ready? Let's go. Let's have 5 minutes reporting. Now, I have, upon searching and studying this topic, you know what, classmates, I remembered about my college years, specifically about the history of education, no, in the Philippines. We all know that education is very poor and degrading in a sense that there are many foreigners or there are many countries invading us. No, I'm not saying that we are poor in education because we are what is this? Intellectually challenged. I believe that Filipinos are genius. Do you believe so, classmates? I hope that you are proud being Filipinos. Filipinos are really genius and we are very rich in this intellectual aspect. It's just that I say we are poor because again and again there are many what's this countries like America, Spain. They all came here to possess us and to get everything from us, even our freedom and even our freedom in education. So there are now I included this experience of mine during college because
Hey, sorry
somewhat.
for the interruption. Guys, sorry for the interruptions. It's already 10:04,
Yes, sir.
so pwede will proceed this report this coming last Sunday of the month. Pwede ra.
Okay,
Okay, it's
Doc.
almost 10 o'clock, so uh, mag-meet gyapon ta sa last Sunday of the month ha, A group and B group. So please, interruption lang Miss Japet Rumbo. So pwede mag-continue ta sa Sunday kay maybe you'll be having a class also with Dr. Busico, am I right? Some of your classmates kay na klase ni Dr. Busico. Miss Japet Rumbo, please, I'm so sorry for the interruption. Okay lang, Miss?
Okay ra kayo, Doc. Okay ra dad kayo.
Okay, so keep safe and then ang mga questions later na lang after sa inyong reports ha kay wala pa man mahuman sa kuan sa topic 1, di ba? So inighuman lang inyong report na lang so mahatag na lang kog mga group dynamics mga interactions later on na lang ha after sa inyong report. But as of now kanang ang uban klase ra ba in town sa uban with Doc Busico atin na may klase isang na ang A na klase, ang B-SAT na klase karong 10 onwards. So pwede shall we call it a day?
Okay, Doc.
Okay, sorry
Okay,
kayo.
Doc. Thank you, Doc.
And Perez Bernard, sorry. Yeah. Sir Nigel, good job,
Okay,
Sir
Doc.
Nigel.
Thank you, Doc.
Okay, see you next meeting.
Okay,
And
Doc.
keep safe,
Thank you, Doc.
guys.
Thank you,
Okay, bye sa
everyone.
Thank you,
Dewey.
Good
Doc.
job,
Bye.
Thank you,
reporters.
Doc.
Naprulong ako ang pressure, Doc. Kaya ako ka-report ron. Nalipay na tani kung ako na... Ay! Sige, Doc. Bye-bye, Doc. God bless.
Time naman yun. So sorry,
Okay,
guys.
Doc.
Okay,
Okay, Doc.
bye.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you,
Sige,
Doc.
Doc. Salamat. God bless. Smile,
Good
smile.
day.
Bye,
ulit.
everyone.
Bye-bye! Bakit? Ate, wow ka-report. Sige, te. Bye-bye, te. See you in the next room.
Napay laing klase din, alas 10. Naputol, wala akong matulong report ko lang. Kaya alas 10 naman, yan na pa may lain naman kung klase pag alas 10. Tao.
Katong kuan na yung mga pisliton tong kuan. Panalitan. Amo kuan man to sa. Ha?
Ayaw pag kuan kaya nasama na kalikudan ng sanina.
Ha? Pisliton na nimo ng another gig, 1 gig. Di ba makatanaw ba mo? Pero man tong kuan sa ina na ba?
Oh, bari ito.
Oh,
Another
then,
1 gig.
pisliton to nimo. Okay.
Hindi ko po kabante usahay mo. Tingong to siya.
May abtik na na kay di mapalong man ang kuan na mapalong man na siya ang imong kuan data di makakakuan.
Kamas ako usang report nan kay.
Ha?
Kulangan ni ako usang report.
Mana ka sa imong report?
Man ako ato. Swab test na ba na automatic ron?
Ano may kanon ni Patok Sudan?
Oh.
Pao na ka?
Oh.
So, it's about